Hey you folks, right here, welcome back, live with the Shaman. Alright, hope everyone's doing well. Let's bring up our Discord, unmute. Alright, see if everybody's back on Discord.
Yep, I'm here.
Hello, hello, hello. Live with the Shaman, of course, we have to open with our disclaimer. We are an adult-based channel, only for those times when we feel like adulting. But we may use strong language, and we most commonly have discussions on this channel that may not always be politically correct, or that some parentals might want their young ones to hear. So keep that in mind if you're watching our broadcast. We may pop off with an occasional curse word, or may talk about a topic that might be a little bit uncomfortable to some people's sensitive ears. We are Shaman. Also, there's an ever-expiring discordapps.com link in our description, where you're more than welcome to join us if you want to be heard, talk, or whatever. So, who all we got in Discord? I think it's just Cindy. I think Clip stepped out for a bit, right?
Yep, just me.
Right. So for those of you newcomers that think you may be interested in shamanism, first off, I'm going to start by asking you if you've lost your fucking mind. Shamanism typically is not for the faint of heart. It tends to be a very disciplined path. Also, too, we like to have fun. We visualize life test and things that happen in life as things that happen. We each have to go through our own trials and tribulations in our path. You're human. You need to remember that right off the top of the bat. Just because you're studying shamanism, just because you're a natural healer, you may be someone who naturally is capable of traversing the astral, but you're still flesh and blood, right off first and foremost before anything else. You are a human being. So you might remember that. You're going to get sick. I'm just getting over being sick. You're going to meditate. You're going to try to heal yourself as best you can. But if you get the galloping crud, guess what? I can tell you, the Grove of the Celtic Shaman, we are one of the traditions that absolutely supports modern medicine. We watch it very closely. I'm not one to let a doctor just prescribe me a handful of pills and pat me on my ass and send me down the road. So I do ask questions, and I recommend everybody ask questions. I tell everyone that comes to me for healing, do not stop taking your medication prescribed to you by a physician until you've checked with your physician. I've had people accuse me of that before. Excuse me. What the hell are we talking about today? Global shamanism and the differences.
You mean regional, worldwide?
Well, yeah. I mean, shamanism itself is everywhere. The word shaman, the universal word shaman, wasn't even invited into the English language until the 1930s, I think. It was in the late 20s or early 30s, by a gentleman, and damned if I can remember his name, that had spent some time with the Siberian shamans and learning under them, and brought the word shaman back to the States. Shaman simplistically means a lifestyle of a village healer. Just because you're a healer doesn't make you shaman. It's kind of like all witches are pagan, but not all pagans are witches. And I will interestingly tell you that shamanism is one of the paths that are fundamentally studied and practiced in pagan, Christian, Muslim, Jewish, especially in India. There is a entire religious architectural system set up where individuals in India go into a building and are blessed and healed and what have you by locally recognized shamans. And they are labeled as shamans in the English language. Now, the lady that was going on about it that I watched earlier this week, she said the Indian term, now not Native American Indian, but in India, in their language, she said the term for shaman, but I'm not even going to try to enunciate or repronounce what the woman said. So shamanism as a path, as a lifestyle, is recognized globally. And what's even more fun about shamanism is we're all different. We are all individualized. We have the same basic core, the same basic ideological philosophies. It's kind of what makes us shaman. But every global shaman path, core, that I have studied and researched, there are subtle differences. Where Wicca is Wicca, there are multiple different traditions of Wicca, but the core of the path of Wicca is Wicca. Not all Wiccans are witches, and they will quite quickly correct you on that. And not all witches are Wiccan. Cindy, you've researched into a bit of that. Am I saying that correctly?
Yes, you are.
Now, Druidism. Go ahead.
I did a search, like you said, I did the global reforms of shamanism, and I posted the link from the Wikipedia. I know it's not good, but yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a good place to start.
And you know I'm fascinated with Japan because I was born there.
With where?
Japan.
Ah, right. Yeah, I forgot you were born in Japan. Yeah.
Shindu is Japanese shaman.
Say that again.
Shindu.
Hindu.
No, Shindu. The different S-H-I.
Oh. Okay. So, I mean, this has always been an interesting topic to me. Is what are the differences globally? You know, I think I know I communicated a bit with individuals in Scotland, some of the Pictish folk who still believe in Pictish philosophies, and they're one of our required reading in the Grove of the Celtic Shaman. It's known, the book is called Pictish Witchcraft, and we've done a video on it, we've shared it, we've got the links in the Open Grove of the Celtic Shaman Facebook page, so if you want to go over there and check out our reading list, go right ahead. But the fundamental core of the way the Pictish healers lived back then is a real strong foundation for which the Grove of the Celtic Shaman was founded back in 2000. And it's kind of the way I've always taught my students, is through the trials of life. We call it trial by fire. We really actually call it trial by element. When you're going through your training, you go through your trials of spirit, you go through your trials of earth, air, fire, and water to eventually get your gray robe of your master. And it's also referred to as the white, the black, and the gray. And if you look at that parallel, the difference of the understanding of the way we do it and the way other shamans train their students throughout the globe, there's enough of a parallel that makes it understandable. Shamans are a part of the earth. Now, we're also a part of the cosmos. Most every shaman tradition that I have looked into follows a form of the triad, which is why the GCS symbol is the triadagram. It's the cosmos, the triangle, and the pentagram. Now, of course, Siberian shamanism, each village, and this was an interesting study that I did some years ago, in Siberian shamanism, each village has their own shaman. And interestingly enough, each shaman within that village will take one student in a lifetime, unless that student dies or something becomes of them. But they will only ever take one student per lifetime, and on their deathbed they will hand over the kani or the staff or the title of shaman to their apprentice. And a shaman in most of your villages will typically find a young early teens child that exhibits the ability to heal, communicate, listen, and live by the earth, by the elements of the earth. So they go on a hunt, if you will, for those who are naturally based in that shaman philosophy. So for as much as the differences that we talk about global shamanism and the differences, we find ourselves drawing more of a parallel than we do differences, which is interesting in and of itself. So I know Clint's not on. I think he's listening on his phone. But what are some of the things you guys have found? And those of you that will be watching our pre-recorded broadcast later, feel free to post what some of the differences and likenesses you found in your research of shamanism in whatever denomination of shamanism that you've chosen. Cindy?
Well, my base core is Celtic Shaman, of course, but then I've started doing other, like I said, the Shindu I've been studying a whole lot on, because it is a, what is it, the Shindu over there is getting to the point where they turned into the monks of the monastery. And usually in the monastery or the temple, they have, like you said, the one shaman. But now, modern days, they have so many students that the teachers take like 5 to 10 nowadays, because there's so many that are being brought up at a younger age because the older generation has noticed that the shamanism is starting to disappear. So they're trying to get the young folks. I mean, they've got kids in there that are 6 years old.
Right.
But yeah, they're brought up to be that.
Right. Morning, Dave. Dave just came in and said good morning. Well, now I also, when I go to Scotland, there is a Tibetan temple in Scotland that has been there. Shit, I think it's been there since the 30s, 1930s, 1940s. The energy at that Tibetan temple is just absolutely phenomenal. I just, there's no way I can describe it.
Well, in that temple, is there younger people there?
The interesting part is they've opened the sanctuary up to a degree so that younger people can come and study. But in the Tibetan monk system, there are younger kids that are studying Tibetan monk, but you never see them. Every time that we've been, I have never seen a child. Now, most everyone that I have seen that's actually meditating in the temple, I would say is mid to late teens and above. All the way up to some of them that look like they're older than dirt. They may be. I know that a lot of the Tibetan temples, their priests can age up into their hundreds. So, you know.
Right. There's a temple down here in Port Arthur that they have classes you can go to also to learn their ways. But I think they did an article on it this year or last year. There was their monk or whatever you want to call them. Sorry. He was at 104.
Wow. Okay. So I mean, you think about it. Siberia, the Tibetan indigenous people. Australia, the outbacks of Australia, their indigenous people have shamans. So I mean, every population of people around the globe have always had their village healer. Now, what I find is interesting is, you know, in the Grove of the Celtic Shaman, we talk about, you know, we don't do a whole lot of magic by the sense of going to altar and casting spells, or going to altar and casting this, that, or the other thing. And our rituals are not designed around, as you would call, magic. Okay?
Far from it, yep.
Right. Now, by definition, I guess it could be, because what is magic but the manipulation of energy? But in the way shamans do things, in some circles, is called magic. Like, well, the Siberian shaman, for example, the few that they've interviewed, the ones that either speak English or have an interpreter, they don't know words like magic. They don't know words like pagan, Wicca, witchcraft, druid, whatever. And, of course, their word for shaman is, in their language, shaman. But But when you talk about how other populations of shamanism or other populations of shaman act and interact with their villages, their people, and their population, there's not a whole lot of differences. I mean, yeah, okay, we have a council of 13 altogether, counting, we have a council of 9, but some of us have a deity structure of roughly about 13. The council of 9 is just quite simply the cardinal points and the elements. And anybody that's gone through our classes knows that our elements are mid-drift of our cardinal points. Our cardinal points are not associated with an element, with the exception of north, and that's associated with spirit element. But you quickly learn when you start looking into other shamanic philosophies, there's differences there. The Siberian, for example, they have a single fire, a single candle. Some of them use sweetgrass, some of them use sage. In India, they have a multitude of candles. Most of their candles are the floating candles in clamshells, which I just thought was interesting as hell. And the water that they use is their holy water from, I cannot remember the name of the river that India uses as their shamanic holy water, but it's the river that Muslims bathe in India and what have you. Hey, it's right on the tip of my tongue. I cannot for the life of me remember it. But watching the blessings on the video from the Indian, the shamans of India, I hate to call them Indian shamans, because here in the States we refer to Indian as Native American Indians, so I tend to not refer to folk from India as Indians. I don't know, my own thing.
There's a river, I can't say it in the chat. That's the river from the Himalayas, what they use.
Right.
It's the Ganges.
Yeah, there you go.
Say that again, Clint.
Ganges.
Is it Dangy or Jangy?
Jangy. The first G sounds like a K when they say it.
Ah, got it. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Dave says sweetgrass and sage together is the ticket. Sweetgrass and sage together, I love it. And but I tend to be a little weird, as you do. I have been looking for a sweetgrass sage patchouli bundle. Sweetgrass sage patchouli bundle. And yeah, I won't find it unless I find somebody that can make it for me, because drying patchouli has to be done a specific particular way, and then bundling it in to sweetgrass and patchouli would be a challenge. Yeah, but anyway, I digress. But I found the video of the India shamans doing what they do amazing, because you can just imagine in this building, it wasn't even a temple, it's just a square, 4-walled, relatively large building with different shamans that practice different arts, right? They've got a group of shamans on one side that do aches, pains, and illnesses. Then they have another group of shamans set away a bit that do family problems, and I quote, love magic, that was quoted in the video. And they do relationship issues. Okay, alright. Then there is another section of shamans that do financial, money, burdens, being able to end your money problems and bills and what have you. They do those types of work. So the interesting part of the whole thing is when you're talking about global shamanism, the core of we are all of the piece of the earth, we're all a part of the cosmos, and everything we are is everything we will ever be, is a core philosophy throughout shamanism around the globe. The differences comes in with the way we do it. I have a 9 candle tree that I light on occasion. My altar will have 9 candles, and occasionally I'll do a triad if I'm calling the triad. And I know that I've seen Clint's altar and Cindy's altar on Open GCS group. Their altars are beautiful. So I mean, every shaman everywhere has a slightly different way that they do their altars.
I'm still looking for the 9-tree candle.
I don't know where Camille found that. My wife found it somewhere and picked it up. I think it was an absolute accidental thing, because we had put out to the cosmos that I wanted a rack that could house 9 candles. I'll show it to you.
I think Clint's got one too. I just haven't found mine.
Yeah, I got my one that's the wooden tree with the platforms. It's 9.
Right. I hope the camera will pick it up. But that is the tree of 9. Get a little closer. It's got two candles at the top, and then a row of 3, and then a row of 4.
And you know the 9-tree candle is? It's a Jewish one.
No.
Not that one, but most of the one I'm finding are the Jewish candle thing. I don't know what they're called.
What the hell is the name of that thing?
The menorah.
That's it. Thank you, Clint. That's interesting. I don't think out of all of my studies I've ever counted the menorah. Boy, am I slipping.
Well, I guess we got a topic for later on.
What? The menorah? I ain't Jewish.
Yeah, but we can do the comparisons on the 9 council 9-tree candle and a menorah.
The first thing we would need is someone versed and educated in the Jewish philosophies that's willing to be interviewed. I have never sit down and studied the Jewish philosophy. I've studied it, but I am absolutely not qualified to speak on the Jewish philosophies. So, I mean, hey, if we can find a healer in the Jewish community that is willing to discuss the Jewish healing philosophies and Judaism as a whole, and where the healer situation works with Jewish and combined with shamanism, hell yeah, that'd be a damn good topic. I apologize, I keep having to blow my nose and cough. I'm really hoping this shit's going to go away pretty quick.
Honey and tea, honey and tea.
Well, that doesn't work for me. So yeah, where to? I mean, we think about it. Even if we look at the variable differences between the multiple healing philosophies, not, we know shamanism is healing, but we also know all healers are not shaman. Healing is healing. Whether you're talking about herbal healing, energy healing, the healing of the mind, body, and soul. You have Reiki. You have holistic Christology. You have trigger point therapy. Needles. I mean, it's endless.
It is endless. Yeah, there's so many types of different kinds of healing nowadays.
Well, it's not just nowadays. Since the beginning of time. I mean, healers,
Right.
wherever there have been people, wherever there has been a population, I'm not talking about 1 or 2 or 10, I'm talking about an actual village, established village with people living there, they will have a healer of some kind. So, kind of like what we talked about in Open Pagan Church, they talk about all this New Age crap. There's nothing new about it at all. And I mean, people that are looking into studying shamanism, they become disillusioned real quick when we explain to them shamanism is not a place to get your drugs. Shamanism is not a place where you can live your life stoned out of your gourd or drunk off of your mind. Shamanism is a very disciplined, a very spiritually based philosophy, where in this grove you can do without drugs the same thing that you can do with drugs with the right state of mind. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm perfectly fine taking a vision quest under the guidance of a Native American shaman in a peyote vision quest.
Oh, that would be a dream come true.
Yeah, wouldn't it? I mean, I have been on a vision quest with one of the few true Native American shamans that I know. And the vision quest was in a sweat lodge where there were, quote, herbs, unquote, that were used in the boiling pot of steam. I did that shit 01, 02, I think, 2001, 2002, something like that.
I know I did one vision quest with Delbert,
Yeah,
and that was interesting.
yeah. Vision quests are great. I mean, The GCS does vision quest using sleep deprivation. Of course, we don't have a circle anymore, really, so we have not done one of those in way too long.
I remember the one out there at property we did. I think there's like 7 of us or 6 of us.
I think it ended up by the end of it all, there was about 6 or 7 left. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it goes to show that irregardless of how different the different shaman philosophies are, we are all so parallel in the same that we're out to do and perform the same function, and that is to help our people, our village, to help those that come to us heal and get over whatever hump they're in. One of the other things that makes shamanism way different from a whole lot of healing philosophies is we don't tend to put up with a whole lot of help me, don't help me. We don't tolerate bullshit. We don't tolerate those who come in that only want to whimper and whine and don't want to do the work to get over whatever it is they've got.
Oh, we have those.
Yeah, I'm not going to do it for you. I can't. You know, I can point you in a direction that I think will help you, but at the end of the day, the client has to watch and walk that path to get where they need to go. So far as different as we are, and far as alike as we are, global shamans, the one most important thing we have in common is we want to help those who are willing to help themselves. Clint, Cindy, y'all got anything else to offer on this topic?
Nope.
Nope. Cindy?
Well, global shamanism, like you said, is broad. I mean, there's all kinds of them. I looked it up, and it's like, I got something to study now. Just if you want to become a shaman or learn about shamanism, keep your mind open. You can learn about it anywhere, but it might make you think it might be less for you.
Well, yeah, listen. You know, ask your question. Listen to the multitudes of different answers that you're going to get from different people, and form in your mind what is right for you, and discuss that with whoever you choose as teacher. And if one quote grove doesn't work for you, research other groves, research other teachers, ask, hell, go to the multitudes of different groups, ask the same question, worded exactly the same, put exactly the same way, and see how many different answers you get. I think if they're true to themselves and true to what they teach, your answers will be close enough in parallel that you'll be able to find what you seek. Well, that's it then. I will give you guys back the rest of your day. Thank you for watching. Hope everyone has a good week, and we'll see you next week here on Live with a Shaman. Have a great day.